are living in a time when it's really pretty interesting to think about standing together. A lot of noise going on in the world, a lot of not standing together, right? And so I thought it'd be fun to talk about that for a day. Maybe fun is the wrong word. Maybe it's necessary. I love this quote by Isaac Newton that says, "Tact is the art of making a point without making an enemy." He was a pretty smart dude, so I'm gonna go with that. And he also agrees with what the book of Proverbs said: "A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger." So the encouragement here is to be kind and gentle, right? Because doing that can diffuse the really awkward moments. Okay, but what do you do when you're running out of kindness? Maybe because you're just seeing someone just say inflaming things on Facebook, that someone that's actually a friend of yours, or maybe not at all. Or maybe it's because you're in quarantine and you're living with somebody and you're like, kindness, it's running out. It's on its last little drip. So I think one of the things I've found so helpful is kind of the model that Jesus did again and again. Although we have to do it a little differently because he kind of knew where everyone was coming from, so he could move closer in light of what he knew. But for us, it's a little bit more about stepping out of our shoes, out of our perspective, and trying our best just to step a little bit into someone else's perspective. And so it means we work really hard, even if just in a moment, to find out where they're coming from. And so I find this always happens best by asking questions and hearing, what's important to somebody, or hearing what kind of day they've had. That also can help us sort of diffuse some things, just knowing where they've been that day. Or sometimes if we don't know someone that well, maybe it's knowing what kind of life they've had. And I feel like when I see a little bit of where they've come from, it makes it easier for me to move toward them, not in frustration, but in kindness. And then it's a lot easier to give a soft answer and an answer that they might need, and to know that I can love, even if I disagree. And so here's a way this has really been true for me. One of my places that I used to go a lot before the airport closed down, not really, before quarantine happened, was the airport. Even though it's virtually almost closed down, I think a few flights are still running, at least out of New York. So one of the things that happens to me when I go to the airport, because I can't see, is that people like to do really special things. Like usually the ticketing agent, shouts really loudly and speaks really slowly. Do you know where you're going today, ma'am? No, I just thought I'd show up at the airport. So it's fun. But that doesn't help me see them any better. So I always try to think of something smart to say, and then I realize it's not worth it. And then usually, if I'm going far away and I have a sky cap assist me to the gate, they first are like, "Oh, you need a wheelchair." I'm like, "No, I would love to walk because I'm going to be sitting on an airplane." And they're like, "No, you need a wheelchair." No. And they're like, "Fine, I'll carry you." And then they're, trying to carry you, which is really, really fun, except not at all. So a lot of times when I go through the airport, I'm utterly frustrated by the time I get to my gate. But one of the things that I have finally started to learn as I'm walking to the gate and having a good chat with the sky cap, or as I'm having a chat with the gate agent, is, man, they have a story too. And they have been somewhere during that day or during their lives that should invite me to love and compassion and curiosity, and not to grouchiness. So because I process things by writing songs about them, I wrote this little song for all the people at the airport. Dear airport man, I am aware that I am blind, so you don't have to shout, 'cause I can hear you just fine. So thanks for the cards, but I don't need a ride unless you're gonna let me take the wheel. Dear speak for myself. Friend, what do I want? It all looks so good to me. If you could see what I see, we all stumble in the dark and we all bump into things. We all long to be free. We're all broken together beautifully. So I'm warning you now that it won't be weird if I run into you when I leave here. Just be yourself. There's nothing to fear, except my supersonic ears can hear your thoughts. If you could see what I see, we all stumble in the dark and we all bump into things. We're all saints and we're all thieves. Oh, we're all broken together beautifully. And the brokenness runs deep and wide. And left on our own, we'd all run and hide. That's why we need each other, reflecting the